Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Colonel Darcy, Sam Riley, travels to the home of a wealthy family to investigate the emergence of a zombie. He arrives at the home and sits with the family before taking out a small vial containing a particular set of flies that can detect the undead. The flies land on the house's patriarch, whose eyes turn red. Darcy breaks a glass and stabs the man in the throat before decapitating him. This frightens one of the young girls in the house, and she retreats upstairs. When she is discovered, she has turned into a zombie as well and proceeds to attack. We hear the voice of Mr. Bennet, Charles Dance, narrate the origin of the zombie outbreak, which is represented in the form of a pop-up book. The Black Plague hit London and began to create zombies. A wall was built to separate London from the zombies, leaving them in an area called the In-Between. It is said that the four horsemen are ready to rise up from hell and bring about the apocalypse. The Bennet sisters, Elizabeth, Lily James, Jane, Bella Heathcote, Kitty, Suki Waterhouse, Lydia, Ellie Bammer, and Mary, Millie Brady, have all been trained by their father in the art of weaponry and martial arts. Mrs. Bennet, Sally Phillips, wants her daughters to be married off to wealthy suitors. As it turns out, the Bingley family has moved in nearby and are throwing a ball, wherein Mrs. Bennet hopes that the young and handsome Mr. Bingley, Douglas Booth, will win over one of her girls. Elizabeth doesn't want to seek out a husband, to which Lydia makes a snide comment about Elizabeth not being able to attract men. She proceeds to chase Lydia out of the room. The Bennets attend the ball. Bingley instantly sets his eyes on Jane. Darcy is in attendance and takes notice of Elizabeth, but he makes comments that she is unappealing, which Elizabeth overhears. She walks outside tearfully and encounters a woman she knew named Mrs. Featherstone, Hermione Corfield, who is a zombie. Mrs. Featherstone is about to tell Elizabeth something until her head is blown off by Darcy. A horde of zombies then attacks the party, prompting the Bennet sisters to spring into action. As they slay every zombie in their path, Darcy instantly becomes smitten with Elizabeth when he witnesses her in combat. Jane is outside by herself on a rainy day and encounters a zombie. She kills it, but then spots a zombie woman with her child. Jane hesitates and is attacked by the zombie. She is confined to her room, where it is feared that she may have been bitten. Darcy arrives at their home with the flies to detect a zombie, but Elizabeth catches each fly with her hand and returns them to Darcy. After Jane recovers, the sisters attend another ball for the Bingleys. There, Elizabeth meets the soldier Mr. Wickham, Jack Huston, who seems to be charming and polite. He tells Elizabeth that he has had a history with Darcy and does not wish to further challenge him. Another group of zombies attacks the party, resulting in Bingley injuring himself but not getting bitten, and Darcy joins Elizabeth in fighting the monsters. The Bennets are visited by Parson Collins, Matt Smith, who intends to marry one of the sisters. He initially sets his eyes on Jane, though he is told that she is with Bingley. He later tries to make a move on Elizabeth, but requests that she give up her life as a warrior, something that she adamantly refuses to do, even for a man. Mr. Collins later decides to settle with Elizabeth's friend Charlotte, Eiling Loftus. Elizabeth and Darcy meet with Darcy's aunt, Lady Catherine de Bourgh, Lena Headey, a notorious zombie killer with major authority. She wants Darcy to marry her daughter Anne, but Catherine's skill are also needed to fight off the zombies. Elizabeth travels with Wickham to the In-Between to a building where several zombies are being kept and are fed animal meat to keep them from going completely savage. Wickham wants Elizabeth to join him in helping the zombies. He also proposes to her, but she remains conflicted. Back home, Elizabeth is told that Darcy has convinced the Bingleys to move away. When Darcy approaches Elizabeth with a proposal of his own, she expresses her outrage at his actions and fights him in a duel. Elizabeth gets the upper hand and Darcy leaves. Darcy writes Elizabeth a letter to apologize for his actions and to state that he separated Jane and Bingley for fear that she had contracted the zombie plague, and he also mentions that Wickham had tried to elope with Darcy's sister for her fortune. He states that he is fending off zombies in London. Elizabeth is then cornered by Lady Catherine and her bodyguard Wilhelm, Ryan Oliva. Catherine knows that Elizabeth and Darcy have developed an attraction toward one another, yet she still wants Darcy to marry her daughter. Wilhelm attacks Elizabeth, but she claws his face and fights him off, causing him to get crushed under a pile of bricks. Catherine states she doesn't know if she admires Elizabeth's skill as a warrior or her resolve as a woman. She leaves Elizabeth alone. The zombies make their way toward London. Elizabeth rejoins Darcy in the In-Between and helps him battle the undead. Darcy encounters Wickham and fights him, eventually impaling him and seeing a bite mark on his chest, revealing he was undead all along. Before Wickham can kill Darcy, Elizabeth rides in and chops his arm off and knocks him out. Darcy rides with Elizabeth across the bridge as other Londoners blow it up to keep the zombies away. Darcy is injured in the explosion and is rendered unconscious. Elizabeth tearfully admits her love for him. After Darcy recovers, he finds Elizabeth and tells her that he heard what she said on the bridge. They share their first kiss and agree to marry. The two have a joint wedding with Bingley and Jane, officiated by Parson Collins. The couples walk away together to live happily ever after. Until a moment after the initial credits start and they see something beyond the gates. The now one-armed Wickham is leading the zombies toward them, ready for war.